Hello, this is Thomas Shetra for Moreland University. This is Module 3913, Activity 1. And so today I'm going to be focusing on my 360 leadership survey result and go over some of that feedback and kind of give a general reflection. Okay, so during we did this survey on Google Forms. And I made it available. So we're just but I made this on Google Forms and so when I sent this out, so obviously you can see the stakeholders that I was um, giving the survey result or giving the survey to. And so, let's just say that you click on student. You could select whether middle school or upper school. This was optional. Grade level was optional. And then here are the questions. And you could, these were required, and then an optional to give the feedback. And so, here are the results that I got. And so you can kind of see through teachers. So you see the question. And so for the most part, strongly agree or agree. There's a couple not applicable. And then there's a couple where I see disagree. So, essentially the candidate helps teachers feel supported rather than judged. Okay, so generally speaking, even though the results for all stakeholders were positive, um, I'm always going to sort of lean on people that disagree with me or disagree with that question. However, I didn't get any responses that kind of that went into a little further detail, which is okay because I made that optional because I wanted a higher turnover or response. One couple of feedback that I got from teachers. One was communication regarding activities and events giving more notice, and time allowance for marking and grading should be given. Um, the only thing I can say to that in context, or not really to defend myself because communication could always be better, is also making sure that I ask um, from leadership what those requirements are, so that way I can give that information to teachers in a more timely manner. The other feedback that I got is, which I like the fact that this person said that you do a great job of being thoughtful and empathetic and considerate of how others feel. But I think one of um, the sort of piece of feedback was to be more direct with people, and that as I get ready to be, um, in leadership, hopefully in the future, being able to communicate with people in a more direct manner, but still being considerate of people's feelings. Um, and then here we go to the parent feedback. I only got two responses. This is not surprising to me just because a majority of our parents can't really communicate in English without the help of a translator. And also the fact that I was using Google Forms. I could have used Microsoft Teams, but I find using Google Forms a little easier. Um, and therefore, probably a lot of parents don't have VPNs. So I realized that was probably already going to kind of serve or is going to negatively impact the response rate from parents. But I do think that the feedback overall that I've had from parents this year has been pretty positive. But it would have been nice to kind of have more responses from parents. Um, and then here we go. So this is student feedback. Um, so overall, feedback is really great. Um, again, the disagree and strongly disagree. So here the candidate is fair when working with students, strongly disagree. That's only one respondent, but still that's something that, I want to focus on and try to reflect on as far as what I could be doing next year. So again, here, then we're going to have three respondents. So here, one respondent disagrees, but here we see I have three either disagree, strongly disagree. The candidate communicates it in a calm and professional way. And so again, that one I really want to be able to focus on and kind of reflect over the course of the year on what I could be doing or what I didn't do well as far as communicating expectations. Was that through instructional practices? Was that communicating deadlines? So what and where? Again, these kind of questions. It's good to kind of think and reflect upon the course of the year, and then should try and think of what I could do for next year to kind of communicate and be more professional in that way. Can it help create a positive school and classroom environment? Again, two people said that they disagree with that statement. So again, try and think over the summer about what I could do to try and create that atmosphere where students feel comfortable in that learning environment. Some not great feedback from students, but the one is do more lectures in AP studying. I talked about this with Mr. Cumberworth, and obviously, like we want to get good AP results, but for the most part, most of these students are used to a sort of more lecture style in public school or other schools. Administrative feedback, pretty, it's pretty good. No disagree or strongly disagree. The only one that was kind of 50-50 right here is the candidate makes decisions with student learning, well-being, and school mission in mind. So obviously agree and strongly agree. But maybe this is something I want to focus on more about making sure that I'm focusing on those student relationships. Here, the candidate demonstrates the ability to support teachers through coaching, feedback, or professional conversations. So again, agree rather than strongly agree. So that's something I can think about more with being chair is how can I go into those coaching conversations next year and be more helpful. The two pieces of feedback that I got from administrators was basically kind of adopting a more professional look. I shaved my beard now that it's summertime, and probably something that's going to take a little while to get used to. But I think, I generally let my beard just kind of grow out, and I can understand why, the interactions with parents, students, and then other people within the network at a higher level and other senior leaders. That probably it's not the best look. So I'm going to try a clean face. This wasn't the reason why I shaved my beard, but just because I'm going back home for the summer. So it was a requirement by my mother. So but it is something that I'm going to try out. And also, I generally wear polo shirts, not dress shirts. So I think that kind of a comment here with the feedback is sort of that saying of dress for the job you want, not for the job you have. And so probably to dress more like am a professional leader rather than just not, I don't want to say just a teacher, but rather than an educator, and sort of dress as if I am. So that's kind of a breakdown of what the Google Forms look like. So here, trying to go over the overview of my survey. So again, here's just a representation of the responses that I got. So majority came from students, then teachers, school staff, administrators, and then a small sliver from parents. And so as I look through the data here, so if I look at the 1 through 5, obviously like the it's overwhelmingly positive, which is nice. But the one area that I'm a little concerned about is just the idea that it's lower from students, um, and especially like if you look at so about 80%, 81% positive, which if I look at my student perception survey results from the beginning of the year and the end of the year, I was generally about mid 80s to upper 80s from students, both in grade 8 and grade 9. So that is not really out of the ordinary. It's kind of like on par as far as like how I'm perceived in the classroom by students. But still, when I'm getting this feedback, I don't want to just focus on the high numbers. I want to focus on what students are saying or what teachers are saying. So here's sort of like a breakdown. So obviously my lowest score is a 3.93, so below 4, right? So kind of like below that agree part to more of a neutral, where the candidate communicates in a common professional way, and then all the way up here to administrator, but the teacher, I'll say up here, the candidate follows through with commitments or next steps after conversations or meetings. So again, for the most part, teachers feel that I do, I keep my word. So I think this is a good kind of starting point of, various questions and as far as how, teachers perceive my leadership qualities or how they feel about me as a peer within the school community. Again, generally positive, but things that I can look at and focus on, um, you know, uh, throughout, obviously I can't do anything about this year, but what I can do is I can take this data, walk down, and try to summer plan and try to prep for how to do better next year. Um, Again, here are the highest areas where I got 5. Great, especially from parents. Very happy about the positive feedback from parents. I think I worked really hard this year on that. Here's sort of again a breakdown from the results that I got from all of the stakeholders, and sort of going over the strengths and weaknesses. So obviously, one of the areas that I was strong in was, one is the staff, administrative leaders, and the parents rated me fairly high. Teachers also gave me really good feedback, and student feedback was good too. But there's just few things that I would want to be able to work on. The weaknesses, again, here results don't suggest that I have major, like these aren't like in the 2s or below, 2.5 or below. Everything is generally positive. But one of the things is that students gave me the lowest marks, and so there's obviously, because I don't have the specific feedback, there's a lot of different variables that could go into why those student scores are a lot lower. Was it just something that they were doing to fill out? You can tell by the comments. Not a lot of the comments as far as the feedback were very serious. but I do think to that point, one of the things is making sure that, you know, as a leader, especially when I look into other classrooms, is creating a positive environment and a welcoming environment for students. And so, you know, always wanting to make sure that I'm doing that. The next thing is to make sure that working on my communication skills, because if I'm looking at both the students and the teachers' perception, communication seems to be one of those items where I could do a much better job with. So, um, and then here, opportunities for improvement. Um, so again, one of the areas here is better communication, especially when it comes to calm and professional communication. Um, Academic improvement guidance, or working with teachers. Again, you know, part of that communication being the first sort of tier, and then leading down to all of the other areas. So making sure that teachers understand their roles and responsibilities, so setting clear expectations, better teaching, coaching conversations with teachers, and then also just kind of having um, that professional look. I guess that even though that wasn't something that like um, was negative, it was just more of a general comments on what I could improve on. So as I look through the survey results and I kind of reflect on them, obviously one of the things that I want to focus on the most uh, as I go into the summer break and prepare for next year is to make sure that number one, I'm setting or I'm creating a positive environment for students to come in and learn where they feel good. Two is making sure that I set expectations that are clear and with learning and language objectives, but also communicating in a way that is much calmer, that kind of continues to keep that safe atmosphere as far as what students perceive. And the next thing is just making sure that I continue that clear communication and expectations with teachers, whether they're in my department or just around the school in general, especially when it comes to collaboration. As next year, one of the things we want to do as a department is to showcase our department by doing some sort of initiative within the school community. So part of that reflection is making sure that I can communicate with other teachers, either in my department or in the school community, as we kind of collaborate together. And then the other thing, even though again it's not a big deal, is just to dress better. I guess, you know, maybe try wearing suits or dress shirts and keep this beard off. So anyway, I just kind of wanted to give you a even though the feedback is already here, just kind of give a vlog explanation um, and analysis of what I see when I look at this data and things to try to improve on for next year. So thank you very much.